Welcome to Sasa and Goff, live recorded. I'm Sasha.
I'm Goff.
And we are back with another episode. That is right. This week, we are talking top 3 magazines.
Yeah, I was actually thinking about that when I was writing it down. It's like, for clickbait, whatnot, it's like, we got to have cooler topics. It's just like, oh, and also top magazine.
But we have a lot of different things. It's like we have topics that are very like, I don't want to say vanilla, but they're very non-threatening.
Yeah.
And then we have some topics that are like, if we pull them, we might have to like blur our faces out when we do the shows. So.
Or just a lot of beeps
Yeah.
over our answers.
This week, top 3 magazines. We're going periodicals, my friend.
Damn
That's
right.
what we do on this podcast. How you doing, Goff?
I'm good, man. I wanted to commend you on last week's artwork for our episode Top 90s Hunks. And also just last week's episode, we're getting a lot of positive feedback on your new segment, Serbian basketball player or Yugoslavian war criminal. But quickly back to the thumbnail for last week's episode where you turned myself and you into Zach Morris and AC Slater. The first thing I thought, which was so funny, is like, you know, all the kids say it now. It's like when you want this, but you get the Wish version. Oh, that's like what you and I were.
Solid. Okay.
But oh my god, that was so good.
Yeah,
that was
man.
great.
AI is definitely taking over.
Yeah, well,
it's not a skill of mine. You know, when I do artwork, it ends up, you can tell that it's my
usually
artwork.
just like Photoshop. Yeah,
yeah, and poorly.
But they're great,
and the heads are
done purposely. You know, like.
Sure.
Let's say.
Sure, yeah. This was an AI model. I don't even know how to
rendering.
use. Yeah. So I just put a picture of me with Mario Lopez and you as Zach, because you're the fearless leader, obviously.
Absolutely.
And I thought they turned out pretty good. It was maybe my favorite episode that we've done until this point, because we did go a little goofy, like you were saying with Serbian basketball player we've been told that we should say alleged Yugoslavian war criminal, depending on which side of the truth you believe in or whatever.
Yeah.
Many people enjoyed that, which is good because it was made specifically with people in mind.
Yeah, you said it beforehand. You prefaced. It's like, we know our audience. Got to know our audience.
Exactly.
I heard from none of my friends, though, who listened, so they were probably very offended.
Yeah.
Or just hated it.
Megan told me, she's like, I had no clue what was going on. I don't know what you guys were
I
talking
had no
about,
clue what was going on.
Yeah, it was fun, though. And then, do you remember this guy right here? Vladimir Redmanovic? Do you remember?
That's the Bulls player, right?
Former Chicago Bull.
Like, I thought of that, and it's like, I definitely remember that guy, like, the name, just because it's, you know.
We used to call him Vlad Rod.
Okay.
Because why wouldn't you, with a name like Vladimir Redmanovic?
Absolutely.
So I'm at Goodwill this week, and I'm searching for stuff, and I go and I find this rack of stuff that they just brought out, and I find this Yugoslavia jersey that looks like it says Juggalo Slavia or something, but
it does. I can see the Axeman in the...
Yeah. So this is a Yugoslavia basketball jersey, which is insane.
Amazing timing.
Insane find, right? And then I was like, who wore number 9 for Yugoslavia? So I went through like the 80s and 90s and 70s, and I'm looking for names that, of anyone that I recognize, and I can't find it. It's not Divac. It's not Peja Stojakovic. It's not Dalibor Bagaric, as you would have told me. It's not Dragan Tarlac. It's none of these guys.
That would have been my pick.
Marko Jaric. None of them. And so then I go, I didn't check like the 2000s, because in 2002, as I brought up, Yugoslavia won the FIBA national world championships or whatever in Indianapolis, which we're going to talk more about Indianapolis and how great of a city Indianapolis is.
Can't wait.
Shortly. So then I go, let me check the 2002 roster, and I look it up, and on Wikipedia, number 9 of the 2002 world championship team, Vladimir Redmanovic.
Wow.
What are the odds?
Look at this turncoat.
I find the jersey.
That is amazing, though.
That's a week after we talk about it.
Is his name on the back? Oh, no, obviously not, if you can find it.
That would be very depressing.
That would be great. Yeah, it's like, wait, can you just turn around? It's right there. Oh.
Yeah, but I thought that was insane. And, like, normally he used to wear number 7. When he came to the NBA, he wore 77 because 7s were retired. I don't know. I have no clue why. But he changed to 77 but for some reason, for this year, they have him listed at number 9. So I was like, okay, it might not be his jersey. This might be from the 80s. It might be somebody else. But just the fact that he was number 9,
right.
I was like, I'll take it. So, yeah, more
But
of
he
those,
was Serbian, though, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Serbian, Yugoslavian. In 2002, we were still Yugoslavia.
Yeah.
And then by 2006, we were Serbia and Montenegro. And then that turned into just Serbia.
Okay.
So I know you know all of it.
No, I know nothing of this.
I know everybody listening is like,
I'm the most ignorant human alive.
We know the Serbian history.
Yeah,
I get it. So, but yeah, so I think what we're gonna do, I'm gonna put like a list here of games that we play.
Okay.
So that I can remember down the line that we played them, and then maybe we go back because it's clearly not something I'm gonna do every week.
Yeah.
But I think down the line we come.
But
back.
this week we.
Yeah.
Right
I do like that. Yakov Smirnov also was a pretty big hit. I was afraid of him going nuts on Instagram if you tagged him.
I didn't. It's so funny because you've talked about him on your other podcast, and I always laugh, but it's like I don't know who that guy is. Like I think I've probably heard the name, but I didn't know he was a comedian or anything.
He's the guy who always goes in Russia.
Okay.
And then, like,
In Soviet.
Yeah, exactly. So, I was listening to your other podcast, whatever it's called. Plug it.
Citizens of Pawnee, Parks and Recreation podcast.
Never heard of it, but I was listening to it, and you talked about St. Elmos and how you thought that was a reference on the show, but it turns out that it used to be a steakhouse.
I think it still is.
Still is.
Yeah.
I went there.
Okay.
Last year when I went to Indianapolis.
Okay.
Actually, I was going to go there because they're famous for their shrimp cocktail, right? So the only thing I've ever heard about Indianapolis, if you go to Indianapolis, go to St. Elmo's and get the shrimp cocktail.
Jeez.
I like shrimp
I
cocktail.
didn't know it was real.
So I was like, all right, I'm going to go check it out. So me and Megan went, and it was way too fancy. It's like a steakhouse, and there's just not enough food variety. You know, we like mac and cheese.
Yeah.
There's no mac and cheese at St. Elmo's.
You have fries?
Yeah, exactly.
Fries.
However, they are connected to another restaurant, which I should have got the name of it, but whatever the restaurant next to it is like their sister restaurant, and it's more for slobs like me and Megan. And so we went there, and when you order the shrimp cocktail there, they actually bring it from St. Elmo's.
Oh, nice.
So we ate outside, where from there you can see their the stadium, the football stadium.
Yeah, Lucas Oil
Stadium. And we had the shrimp cocktail, and it was delicious. I absolutely loved it. It like burned your mouth, and then like stopped burning, and you were like,
love a good cocktail sauce. Where are you on getting marinara, like with your calamari?
I'm against marriage altogether. Marinara?
Yeah, no, because some places, like we get calamari a lot as an appetizer, and when they bring out marinara versus spicy cocktail sauce, it's just like, what
interesting.
the fuck? Like,
yeah, I don't have that problem because Megan doesn't eat calamari, so I never order it. So I can't help you. I'm pro both, but with calamari, I don't eat calamari. I haven't had it since I went to Olive Garden in 1987.
Okay.
So I don't know. Anyway, back to the beauty that is Indianapolis.
Indianapolis, yes.
Have you ever been down there?
I've been to Indiana. I don't think You know what? Actually, my car accident I talked about weeks back. I believe we may have been close.
Oh, okay.
So maybe we were in Indianapolis at one point.
But your ear was falling off.
Yes, so I don't remember the sounds.
Yeah, I like Indianapolis as a city, which is funny because this week I'm listening to a podcast, and the two people on the podcast were like, "It's the worst city. It's horrible. There's violence." Which makes sense. We got to Indianapolis, and there were 2 homeless men fighting in the street immediately.
Wow.
And I just thought that's just what people do. It was hilarious. And we walked the other way. I enjoyed the city. They have a nice little arts section. They have a cool middle part of the city. I had a really good time in Indianapolis. We went to the Bears, to Lucas Oil Stadium where the Colts play. They were playing the Bears in a preseason game at the time.
You definitely were not there for this specifically, correct?
No, and that's the crazy part is like we were walking around and we're like,
so no, you don't even like football. And it's like, let alone preseason Bears.
Maybe it wasn't even preseason. Maybe it was a regular season game last year.
It was probably the Super Bowl, like in 2006. Like, not played in Indianapolis, but
that's why we went. But that stadium in general is really cool. It's like wide open on one side.
Oh, nice.
And I don't know if they could do stuff with the roof or whatever. But
I feel
also,
like I've only seen it from like the street side.
But I will be going back in February. Do you know why?
Jeselnik?
The Royal Rumble.
Oh, you're going, huh?
It's in Indianapolis.
Wow.
It can only get closer by coming to Chicago.
Yeah.
I feel like I have to go with some of my friends. Not you. I'm not dragging you to the Royal Rumble. Unless you.
This isn't going to be what this isn't. Yeah, on the spot. Well, we'll see. I've got plenty of time to wait until the day of to say, yeah, maybe it's next week, right?
We watched the Royal Rumble together last year.
Yeah.
So interesting enough there.
It was a good time. That was always my favorite one of the four big.
Yeah, you count down every couple of seconds. It's like a New Year's every minute and a half or whatever. It's
Except
fantastic.
now I don't know any of the wrestlers, so.
I think my wife just loaded her gun. So if you can close that door. You know, it's crazy. Last week I was talking about how hot it is in here, just for me, not on your side apparently, because I was just sweating balls. I'm sweating again.
I'm good, actually. I love that the weather's finally changed.
The fact that we have to close this door stinks. The fact that I can't open this window because my neighbors are having a party stinks. And, like, we're going to talk about...
They're constantly grilling meats.
That would be good.
Open it.
That would be good.
Then we're just salivating the whole time.
But they're just loud. I mean, they're loud. I mean, like, in a good way. There's a lot of stuff going on over there, but it's not good for the podcast. Neither is this jibber jabber that I'm doing over here. So.
All right. Well, we got stickers. Finally,
okay.
We could talk about that. Look at these babies. If you're watching on the YouTube.
Beautiful.
It's just, our logo. These wonderful, I don't know, I think they're 3x3 stickers. If you want them, you got to message us somehow. Give us your address. We'll send them to you.
No, I disagree.
Well,
hard disagree.
However, most of the people who want them, I think, have contributed in some way. Because wasn't the original one you got to add to the top 3?
Yeah, but if you're from Singapore and you're listening to this,
okay,
I'm not sending you.
True. Right.
I mean, like maybe, but
it'll have to be sent in a box.
The original plan was if we pick your top 3.
Okay.
But of course, if you're one of the 6 people who want one of these, we'll just send it to you.
It'll be a small fee. No
exactly.
problem.
$5 a piece. What do you think about this? I was thinking about this too. We have our man Shug up here with the 8x10. He's in our advertising spot. You want to knock him out?
Yeah.
All you got to do is send $3 to Sasa and Goff on Venmo, and you will knock Shug out. Now, we've talked about it. Shug's
4, right? No, he sent 3.
He sent
4
2.
to knock him out.
2.
No, he sent 3.
Okay,
He
4.
sent 3.
4 to knock him out, but either way, it's not going to knock him out because we love the 8x10 so much.
Absolutely, yeah.
That he's just a part of the show now. We're going to move him from here probably to here. Maybe up there over the Nate Robinson post. I don't know where quite yet. But if you want your picture on this podcast while we have the space, you send us an 8x10, you got to autograph it and send us an inscription, and you're up there. That's it. No questions
You don't have
asked.
to pay for that one.
No paying.
That's
just
fine.
send it in.
However,
I was thinking we put a list here of the people who have paid.
Yeah.
And we keep who's the top earner of
who's
all
the
time.
top dog? Yeah.
Yeah. That way they keep sending us money. You see this?
Perfect.
We're gonna be so rich. Look, I had to put a $10 bill and take 10 singles out because
it's getting heavy too.
Yeah, it's crazy. So, I did want to add 2 weeks ago we did a show on our least favorite musician or musical act or band or whatever it was.
Yes.
And my number 1 was Bruce Springsteen, which I stand by the statement. I think I forgot a big one, and I wanted to ask you because it didn't end up on either of our lists. It didn't end up on the potent notables. But my dear friend, Useless Dave, environmental attorney at law, he messaged me, and he was really trying to get me to listen to Bruce Springsteen. He was, try this. And I was like, no, it sucks. Dave, I tried. The Nebraska and whatever other song you told me to, I listened to him. It just sounds like Bruce Springsteen to me. It's not good. Then he brought up the band Gaslight Anthem. Familiar with Gaslight Anthem?
Yeah.
You like Gaslight Anthem? No, because they're a Bruce Springsteen cover band. That's all
a
that they
good
are.
point, yeah.
Not a fan.
Like that.
They're from New Jersey. They say, oh, blue collar. Okay, get out of here, Gaslight Anthem. And then, I don't know if do you remember the band Fun?
Yeah.
So they had one of their band members is a guy named Jack Antonoff.
Okay.
He's like solo now.
Say that name again.
Jack Antonoff.
Okay.
All right, you're 11.
Just take the "t" out of there.
Yeah, I understand what you were trying for, but I love that.
Well, I mean, like, okay.
I love that that's
great.
how it happened.
It's a great stage.
I thought you were going to say you knew him or something, and
No.
By the way, on my Peloton scoreboard this week, this is my 69th week that
Oh.
I've exercised in a row. No, legitimately, and I laughed like you just did
Yeah.
to the name Jack
Great.
Antonoff. Anyway, that guy, also a Bruce Springsteen ripoff. I also don't like Jack Antonoff, and he's produced a bunch of big bands and stuff like that, but he's got horrible. All this Bruce Springsteen stuff stinks. But maybe I like Bruce Springsteen a little bit more than the person that we missed. Maybe.
Okay.
And I want to know your opinion on Morrissey. Because I'll end this podcast today.
I have no opinion.
Okay.
No. Yeah. No, I definitely am not in favor of. I don't. I think I can. Does he have a song about like fire in the streets or something like that? Or
I don't know, because he never gets to play the shows because he cancels because people are barbecuing and the smell of meat comes in. He's a piece of that's what he is.
Wow.
Do the
just like that.
yeah.
Wow.
So my Morrissey hate might be higher than the Bruce Springsteen hate. I don't know, but it's right up there. It's
Gotcha.
hand in hand.
Okay. I mean, like, I'm not a fan, so
Have you ever been to Ed DeBevick's?
no.
Ed DeBevick's was a restaurant in Chicago.
I know of it. I know it.
And they would insult you
Yeah.
when you go there. That's like
Used
their
to skate
thing.
outside of there, actually.
So we went there with me and Megan one time a long time ago, and the guy insulted me in a way that I've never been insulted before when he said I looked like Morrissey. And he was not trying to. He was like, "Hey man, you look like Morrissey." And I was like, "You cut to
son
the
of a
core.
bitch."
They know what they're doing here."
Yeah.
So,
She probably texted ahead.
yeah,
Wasn't
right.
there, like, Dick's Last Resort? Didn't they have a shtick like that, too?
Yeah. And I believe there's one in downtown Indianapolis if
Oh.
you need to go to a Dick's Last Resort.
Nice.
So, I got one more thing. Do you have anything before I get to my last thing?
I just have a quick joke that I think you'll like.
All right,
but,
bring it on.
this is actually a Titanic joke, so I think
Okay,
you'll like it.
Let me go first.
Okay.
And then you end it with the Titanic joke before we do what's going on inside our bodies.
Sounds good.
Whatever that segment's called.
Okay.
All right. So here's the big deal that happened to me this week. Jury duty.
Oh.
Remember, I had jury duty. Remember, we've talked about jury duty
Yes.
26 times on this podcast
Absolutely.
so far. So this was the week. On Friday, I'm supposed to call into jury duty to find out if I need to go in on Monday. It's in Chicago. It's 30 miles away from where I live. It takes an hour to get there, longer in the morning. I'm dreading doing this thing. So it says Friday call from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. If you don't get in, then you have to call after that, right?
Right.
So here's my genius plan. I'm going to call Saturday night, right? The responsible people are the ones calling Friday 5 to 7. They fill up. Now, maybe they don't need me to go to jury duty, right? They get all those people. Yeah, you got to come.
Can't they tell, though, that you didn't call by the right time?
But it doesn't matter.
Okay.
They say if you can't reach us, keep trying. Like, as long as you reach us before the Monday, whatever. So I'm calling as late as I possibly can. This
All
is
right.
my theory, right? I don't know that it's true.
We'll see.
So Friday 5 to 7, I don't call. I don't even bother calling. I don't even try to call.
Rebel.
I wait all day Friday. I'm starting to get nervous on Saturday morning. I'm like, I'm not doing it. I'm not calling until Saturday night. I could have waited till Sunday, but I would have been a wreck on Sunday if I waited till Sunday night and then call for the morning thing. So Saturday night, I call up and they go, "You don't have to show up on Monday." And I'm like, I'm a genius.
There you go.
I'm a genius.
So did you actually get a hold of someone, or did you like leave a message
no.
and they call you back?
It's
or?
just a voice. It's like a
automated?
voice. Yeah, there's a number that you have. You're like a 10-digit pin. You type it in, and they tell you whether you have to show up or not. So I listened to it. It said no. Then I put it on speakerphone so Megan could listen to it. She heard. She's like, "Can we record this so that you don't get sued?"
Put
or
it on
whatever?
the podcast.
So, but the problem is, I'm not done with jury duty. I just don't have to go the first day.
Okay.
Because you're on jury duty for a week.
You're still a reserve.
You still have to call. You have to call every day. So next time I have to call is Monday night to see if I have to go Tuesday. But now I'm in the situation where it's Monday night 5 to 7 p.m. is when I have to call. I want to call as late as possible, but I also want to know if I have to be at jury duty in like 6 hours or whatever. So I wait until 8:30. And 8:30 rolls around, and I call, and I'm feeling that they're going to, like, call me in for this day or whatever. And I call, and they go, "You don't have to show up tomorrow, and your service is done. Thank you very much, you great American." So I did not have to do any jury duty. Then I quickly Googled how often you got to do jury duty. They can call you every year.
Okay.
So I don't have to go for a year, which is great. I didn't have to do my civic duty, which, sad. I want to do my civic duty, but not really.
Yeah.
I don't know why jury duty...
I want to do my civic duty when I want to do it, not when they ask me to do it.
Hybrid.
From home, yes.
Hybrid civic
Zoom
duty.
calls.
I was also considering voting early this week to do multiple civic duties. Didn't do that either. So I'm not doing my civic duty whatsoever. But the crazy thing is, I was thinking about it. I'm like, why does jury duty make you so angry when it's something you only have to do once, maybe? Maybe. Like, I haven't done it in 15 years. And
like what you were just talking about, though, the huge hassle of not knowing until maybe the day before, trying to. So, it's a pain in the ass, and I bet some people are cool with it that like doing it. I don't know. I don't know how many times you can get called or asked.
Every year. So
you can just keep.
Yes. It stinks. But I've been called now twice in 15 years. And I was so angry when I got the letter. And then I was so happy when I didn't, like nothing has made me that angry and also that happy. I was crotch chopping all over the place. I was like, this is it, yeah. Shooting off fireworks inside the house.
Suck it, government.
It was crazy. And then Megan is part of like a book club. And they have like a little Facebook group or whatever it is. No kidding. 5 minutes after I'm crotch chopping the world, someone posted on that Facebook group, "Hey, does anybody have any like book recommendations? I'm in Chicago and I just got jury duty for a federal trial, and it's going to last 10 weeks."
Wow.
10 weeks. In Chicago winter almost.
Yeah.
10 weeks you have to go. It's 2.5 months. And I was like, and it was the same court that I was supposed to go to. I was like, oh my God, this is because I didn't call Saturday.
Yep, she got your spot.
So that's what I'm thinking.
She or he, whoever.
Yeah, so that was crazy. And the good news is I didn't have to do it. So
there you go.
Now give me a Titanic joke.
It's a quick one. It was just, This is my new segment, Dad Joke of the Week.
Love it. I'll make the theme music for it. I've done it before.
All right. So I started calling my smartphone the Titanic because now it's sinking. SYNCING.
And now it's time for What Are We Putting Inside Ourselves? This is the segment where we don't tell jokes. We just talk about the stuff that we've been watching this week. I think you should do a Titanic joke every week.
If I got them, yeah, I will.
Yeah.
Just everything it's sinking.
Yeah, every single
my
week.
tablet. This week it's my my Chromebook.
Do you want to go first? Or you want me to go first?
You know what? I'll go first, actually, just to make you sound like a liar because you said we don't tell jokes. I'm going to talk about a movie about a Joker.
No.
Don't
what
worry.
is it?
Joker 2 Folie à Deux. No plot spoilers here, don't worry. So yeah, this is the sequel to Joker, which was a surprise. I don't know. I guess a surprise hit, but just like having that character. But I mean, I don't know if you know this. The first movie made $1 billion.
Wow.
Like, yeah, that's just insane. Like it's a superhero movie, but not like a Avengers type one with all the special effects and everything. Yeah. Just some fantastic acting, and I think a lot of people were just really curious to see that first movie. And I didn't love it, but I appreciate it more, especially watching this one, because I did not like this one. It's 2 hours and 20 minutes. Probably 25 minutes of it is songs, because this is, in fact, a musical. I know last time we talked, it's like, I heard it's a musical. And they've done a great job not showing or telling you that in the trailers. Like, they're showing little vignettes, but it's like, okay. But no, this is literally 2, 3 minute, 4 minute breakdowns into song and dance that literally have nothing to do with the movie. It's just like,
how many songs you think?
There are 21 songs in the movie. I know that because I listened to a podcast that was talking about it. I don't know if that includes just background music or whatever, because not every song is But that might be the amount. I would say there's at least 10, if I'm being generous.
So but 25 minutes of it is what you're saying?
At least.
Oh.
Of
at
just
least?
song and
Okay.
dance. And I mean, the acting, again, is fantastic by Joaquin Phoenix. I think Lady Gaga's fine. She doesn't really... She's there, again, I think it's just because it's like, she can sing, right? Let's get her in. And she was pretty good at what she was doing, but in the end of the movie, I'm not going to spoil it, but it was very just like, ugh, like kind of feels like they just kind of undid.
Well, and what's his name? Is it Todd Phillips?
Todd, yeah.
He's the director?
Yes.
He was like, I'm done. After this one, he was like, I'm finished.
Well, I really think that they didn't plan on making a sequel, but $1 billion. And it's like, because this movie, I don't know if it, I think it did pretty bad first week. Yeah, it did 38, which is still like great, but I think versus opening weekend for the first one.
And it cost like $100 million to make.
Way more. I think way more than that. But yeah, so I'll if you watch the first one and you like it, check it out. But if you're not a fan, you don't even waste your time because it's
I like the first one a lot, and I like Joaquin Phoenix, and I like just that whole movie in general I thought it was a solid movie, and I have way more interest in a movie like that than I do like the Marvel CGI whatever. I don't care about any of that stuff, but the musical part of it really. It seems to be a bummer, and like Rotten Tomatoes and all that stuff is like,
no, because this isn't just people mad because of the musical stuff. The movie itself really backpedals a lot, and it kind of like screws up a lot from the first movie. So, but yeah, just maybe not the best writing.
2.5 hours.
Yeah, it's a rough one. And then, then I just have one other one. New album, The Offspring, Supercharge.
Oh, you listened
finally
to it?
came out. I've listened to it many, many, many times.
And?
I love it.
Really?
I think it's fantastic. I really do.
Okay.
Just going back to what we talked about a week or two ago when we were talking specifically about bands putting out news, bands that... And The Offspring has been more active. It's not like they haven't put an album out in 10 years or anything, but they're getting older, so it's far and few between. But 10 songs, 32 minutes. I listened to the entire CD on the way over here.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, it's just like, it's nice and quick. And, there's a few songs on there that are just...
You texted me the day of the album release, and you're like, today's the day!
Well, I think it's just because we've been talking about it a lot, yeah.
Well, it also takes me, like, an extra 10 seconds to get the image that you send. So I was like, what is today? And then the image came, and then I was like, oh, okay. I'm going to listen. I didn't listen at the time, and I was like, yeah, I'm going to listen to this sometime today. And then I think I was on Instagram, and there was an ad for the album, or like something about the album. And the song that they were playing, I was like, this is like a Fall Out Boy song. This isn't...
Okay.
It was very poppy. It was very... And I think that kind of made me just like not really put any sort of urgency to listen to it. I will listen to it, especially now since you're saying
you still haven't?
Yeah, I still haven't listened to it. So.
There is, like I said, there's 10 songs. I would say like 5 or 6 of them are like skate punk songs, and then there's I don't think there's anything like Pretty Fly for a White Guy or like Original Prankster. Like there are some like some sound drops in, so maybe there are, but yeah, I think it just I think Dexter's voice sounds better than it has on the last few at least that they put out, and
cool.
Yeah, best song number 9, Hanging by a Thread.
All right.
Yeah. So that's what I'm putting in myself.
All right. I've only got one thing this week.
Okay.
Monster Squad. Have you heard this?
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Okay, so I've never seen this. I've never heard this. Megan watches a Halloween movie or a scary movie every night of October.
Nice.
Alone in the room by herself because I refuse to watch any of that stuff. She goes, hey, you might like this one. It's older. It's not as crazy or whatever. It's like, all right, let's see the trailer. I'll make my decision. I watched the trailer. It's right up my alley. Yeah. I love 80s. I love 80s effects and stuff like that. A little scary.
You like the Universal monsters too, right?
I mean, I like Creature from the Black Lagoon, and the other stuff is fine. Like, I don't have any issues with them.
I don't know why I thought you were a fan. Anyway.
No. But
nope, hate them.
Yeah, hate all of them. No, but this movie, so like, I'm watching this, and a couple things came to mind. One, Richie Aprile from The Sopranos was in it. He's the pilot that's like transporting the thing.
In the very beginning.
Yeah, so that was interesting to
Nice.
see a Sopranos guy, and we talk Sopranos, so I thought I'd bring that up. 2, there's a part where somebody was writing Alucard, Alucard, which is Dracula backwards.
Oh, okay.
Like if in the mirror you could see it or whatever.
Yeah.
And then that was a band that used to be like a pop punk band that used to play with the Swellers all the time. I never knew that's where the name came from.
Okay, yeah, I never knew.
So like I saw that and I was like, oh, that must be it. Unless, I mean, I don't know. I still don't know that that's where it came from, but I assume that's. Where it came from.
Yeah, that's clearly what it is.
The little fat kid, and I can call him that because
Horace, right?
The Wayner. Okay, so Wonder Years.
Oh yeah.
The brother from Wonder Years, Wayner. Wayne is what they call him, the Wayner. He's in this movie, and he calls the fat kid way worse things than the fat kid. So I feel okay calling him the fat kid. By the way, that fat kid died at 21 of pneumonia, which is sad. But he kicks Wolfman
in the nards.
Wolfman got nards. I've heard that.
Yeah,
like,
I was gonna say, yeah, you were probably like, oh,
yeah. That's my favorite part about watching these movies that I have never seen or heard before. I'm like, oh, that's a pop culture reference or whatever. Do you know who Wolfman was?
The actor?
Yeah.
I can picture the actor, but no, I can't.
Uncle Rico from Napoleon
Oh, yes,
Dynamite.
you know what? I have heard that, and I know that, yeah.
It's crazy.
That's great. That is good.
Wouldn't have known it. Megan pointed it out, and then I have to, like, squint and look at him sideways, and then I'm like, oh, yeah, that is him.
Like, that guy can't throw over the mountains.
I love the special effects in these types of movies way better than anything CGI and today. And what someone actually had to make something like whoa, and somebody's like,
yeah, at the end when they get sucked into the portal.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like I love that stuff that like somebody actually had to do that. Where CGI, of course, somebody had to do that too. But like the technology is so good, it's like the stupid AI making our thumbnail. Way too good, way better than it should be.
Yeah, I'm gonna expect better moving forward. All right, so what did you think though?
I liked it.
Okay,
I
awesome.
enjoyed it. It was like 90 minutes, which was great. I'm a little afraid of like even stuff like that.
You know what, Dracula in that movie that's a good Dracula. Like he's not like a goofy one.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, he's actually like choking kids and he's like threatening them and whatnot.
He calls the little girl a bitch.
Yeah,
she's like 4.
Chucks dynamite into their treehouse.
Yeah,
Speaking of their treehouse, I think one of my like favorite parts is when they all put their hands in and the dog does, and they're like, "How does that dog get up here anyway?"
Love the dog, by the way.
Yeah,
no dog died.
Nope.
During this, which was great, but they did at the part. At the end, there's like a suck hole and everybody's being sucked. The dog was like on a rope. You could see the rope from the tree because it was like floating or whatever. So they like.
Did it get pulled in?
No, but it was like
okay,
like someone was holding on to it or whatever.
Gotcha.
It was just like, but you could see the rope. It was hilarious, and the dog did not die, which means I don't automatically take points off of the movie for that.
Awesome.
Megan loves Dracula. If you know
in that movie, or just the character, like she's a Dracula fan?
I think that particular Dracula.
Okay.
She just loves him. You take that for what it is.
She's got a kink.
Look, we've said it, I think, on this podcast before. I look like if Dracula was an Uber driver. So I think she's got a type is all we're trying to say here. I was talking to my buddy Pee-wee, and he was telling me that, like, there's something with the ownership of these characters and stuff like that. Like, there's not a lot of merch with, like, figures and stuff like that with this movie. Because of like the monsters involved.
Well, the Universal. That's specifically what it is.
So like
Dracula, Wolfman, Gillman,
yeah,
Frankenstein, and then the Mummy.
But Burger King, 10 years after the movie, had a 4-pack of figures.
Okay.
And if you could find those, they're like $50.
Like for just Universal Monsters or specifically Monster Squad?
I believe specifically Monster Squad.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's the only thing I was able to find as far as like any figures or anything merch related to this thing.
Huh.
And it was 10 years after the movie came out.
Wow.
Yeah. I'm sure that we're going to have somebody look that up, tell us the correct information. But my quick research, that's what I noticed. 1997 Burger King toys, and the movie came out in 1987. So.
See, this, and I've asked you before on this podcast about Goonies, which you have not seen. This is like essentially just like a scary version, if you will, of Goonies. Yeah. Goonies is another fantastic movie with just like kind of, I think Monster Squad is more foul-mouthed than Goonies. Goonies, it was directed by Spielberg, so I think it was a little more kiddie-aimed, but it was still a great movie. But yeah, Monster Squad, some of the language they use in this is because it was before they had PG-13, so I believe this movie's PG, and they use like the F word.
Crazy.
Yeah, stuff like not the fuck word, the other bad F word.
Say it. Say it.
No, I'm good.
Call me it. All right.
Come on, call me it. I'm excited.
But yeah, I just enjoyed it. It's like every once in a while you watch one of these old classics. Didn't know that I'd be too into it because of the scariness, and I just don't care about scary stuff at all. But it was solid movie. So that brings us to our top 3 list of the week. This week's top 3 list, we talked about it earlier. Top magazines. I love magazines. I've always been a big fan. Still have many unnecessary subscriptions to magazines.
Do you really?
To this day. I have. We have
awesome.
Plenty. Like, I'll show you.
Okay.
Like, they're all over the place.
Yeah.
You could probably see, I don't know. There's literally zero.
I mean, I'm looking at magazines, whether or not they're new or what, but yeah.
But yeah, so I'm a big magazine guy. So I was excited when you pulled this thing. You, magazine guy?
I mean, not as much, but I used to. Yeah, I had subscriptions and whatnot, and just grew up. I love magazines, whether it was doing like the crossword puzzles in them, the Sudoku, whatever, or just.
All right, so we're gonna do top 3. This is our favorite magazines. And if you guys want to add anything to our top 3 list, just send us an email, sasaandgoff@gmail.com. That's it?
That's it.
Is that the podcast?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. And I'll start things off number 3. Now, this is going to be an obscure one, but it's kind of a tie, but I'm going to pick one over the other, and I'll tell you why.
Okay.
It's called WOW Magazine. I believe it stood for World of Wrestling.
Yep.
You're still in?
I know of it.
Oh,
yes.
okay.
I bought the magazine before.
Okay.
At least 1 or 2, yeah.
All right, back in the day.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is a magazine that doesn't exist anymore. It was around like 99, 2000, 2001, around that time. There was also probably the biggest wrestling magazine is called PWI, Pro Wrestling Illustrated, which is a lot more of like, it's a magazine, but it's also kind of newspaperish. Like it's black and white on the inside, but the cover is color. Yeah. When WOW came out, WOW was all color pictures. There was money behind it. There were posters inside. Like it was like a really nicely done wrestling magazine.
Glossy.
And so I liked WOW Magazine when it came out because I was like, look at this. This is crazy. And it was at the perfect time when I was a huge wrestling fan. And then to top it all off, they had the DCWA, my old backyard league, was in it.
Really?
In one of the issues. I don't remember if we had like a picture or anything in there, or if it was just a blurb about us. But definitely within the past like 5 years, I have purchased a lot of WOW magazines on eBay.
Okay, so it's not still did you say that already?
No,
okay.
It ended probably like 01, 02, whatever it was, like a long time ago. But I was looking for that blurb, and I couldn't find it. And then I was like, well, I don't want to keep buying them. I bought like 10 of them, and I don't know how many there were over the years, but like I didn't want to just keep buying them. So I could be making that up. Maybe we weren't in it, but I feel like we were in that thing back in the day. So that's my number 3.
Awesome.
Thank you.
All right, so my number 3, it's kind of funny. It's Pro Wrestling Illustrated.
Are you
PWI,
serious?
Swear to God. When you said that, it was like, come on, really? All right, so...
Now you're not a big big of a wrestling fan.
We'll see. No. Like birth to probably junior high. I was like in it.
The normal.
I was
years.
in it.
The normal years that you're supposed to.
I was always very WWF. Always like WCW. It was just like fuck those guys. Hell no. And my dad, I mean, he got us all into it. Every Monday night, he'd call it at like 7:50, and it's like we had to record Raw, you know. And then on Thursdays it was Nitro, then SmackDown, whatever. So anyway. Before we moved into the house that my parents live in now, we used to live in a townhouse in Bloomingdale, and my parents had a huge walk-in closet. And I know this because my dad had a box in his closet with magazines. And the funny thing is, the box of magazines wasn't Dirty Magazines. It was Pro Wrestling Illustrated. And I would go in there and I would look through the same ones. I don't know why my favorite thing was always at the end of the magazine where they had the rankings. Oh, yeah. I would look every week and it's just like, it was like the Ultimate Warrior, Hogan, like Savage. This was before Triple H and, Shawn Michaels was in there because he was a rocker, but...
And the big the big issue of the year was the PWI 500, where they would actually rank from 500 to 1.
Now, and I remember that definitely more so that you just mentioned it, that yes, the insides were that newspaper feeling and it was just printed on there, but the covers. But still though, like when they would have the, like kind of looking at is that Booker T, the picture I'm looking with, or New Jack with the head split open?
That's my grandpa.
Underneath, above Wade.
Yeah, New Jack.
Yeah, like seeing pictures like that of like George the Animal Steel and stuff on the cover, like glossy, just bloody, and it was like, fuck yeah. And like my dad was just like, yeah, go ahead. I mean, I wasn't like a psychopath, and I barely even read the stuff, but it was just even the black and white pictures, and then like I said, the lists at the end, I loved them.
I probably haven't talked to your dad in a couple of years at this point, but
I know you were. Yeah, he said he would give them to you or something. Yeah. It was like, if I find them, hell no.
I know.
I'm and like, I know where to possibly check in their house, but I don't know. So yeah, that's my number 3.
I love it. Absolutely love it, and a little bit stunned by that one.
No, I again, we were in it, and like we used to get free pay-per-view when we lived in our old house. So I mean, it was all the events and everything, and it was fantastic.
My number 2 is a fictional magazine. It's called Big Uns. It's from Married with Children.
Nice.
It was the porno, the nudie mag that Al Bundy was always looking at. I think with this podcast, it's just us talking about Married with Children as often as we can. I just thought it was like the funniest name.
Yeah.
I remember to this day, like I watch Married with Children at night, and like sometimes they'll show it. Or the other one was like, it wasn't Guns and Ammo, but it was like something like a play off of that. It was
on that show or
on that show, yeah. Okay. So they always just had the funny stuff, but Big Uns was always like
they did like No Ma'am. I mean, like that's not a magazine, no but it's still just an iconic like.
Yeah, and so then I was thinking, and I was like, two different stories came to my mind, I guess. One where I don't know what the true story here is. I don't remember if I had stolen a porn magazine from like a Borders or whatever.
Okay.
Or if it was just like a GQ or like a Maxim with like somebody
like a hot babe on it.
Yeah. But I was definitely a kid. This wasn't like 2 years ago. And I remember hiding a magazine inside of another magazine and bringing it. Okay. And like thinking of it now, I'm like, how would that ever work? Wouldn't you notice the magazine?
Yeah, I mean, magazines are bound kind of. I don't know. I mean,
so either it was different, like something was different, or the guy just felt bad for me and was like, "There you go, kid. Like, have a good time or whatever." Yeah. So I don't know, like, what the situation.
But for page 46 is the best.
For some reason, that's what I remember. And then I was trying to remember, like, the first time that I saw a nudie magazine or whatever you want to call it, and I remember. Do you remember, like, ever coming?
Not specifically, but I remember as a kid 100%, like, seeing those. And
I remember being in, it must have been elementary school, probably like 4th, 5th grade. And one of my buddies, Adam, rest in peace, big wrestling fan, gone too soon, passed away a couple of years ago during COVID or whatever. Yeah. But we went to his house, and his dad had like a hidden stash, and he was like, "Come on!" And then we went and looked at it, and we were like,
"Hell yeah!"
All right, I don't know, like,
I don't know what I'm gonna do with this.
Yeah, exactly. So I just those are what came to mind when I was thinking of Big Uns while writing this list. So.
Yeah, no, that's a good one because it kind of represents, I think, us being kids who weren't supposed to be seeing that stuff. And even you go into 7-Eleven and try to, like, behind the counter, but then they started putting the cardboard in the front, and it was just like, damn it.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
What's your number 2?
All right, you're going to hate this one.
Is it Morrissey Mag?
Yeah, no, probably close for you. It's an old rollerblading magazine, actually, called Daily Bread.
Oh, okay.
So this was like their version of like Thrasher, you know, whatever. But yeah, like aggressive rollerblading, you know, which I was really into. And it just had a lot of young, clever, like snarky, you know, writers, like stuff that I was really into. And you're writing down what to
Yeah.
never again. But yeah, no, I just I don't really have much to say about it. Just
Okay.
that's it.
No, that's okay.
Yeah.
You know what? It's interesting because it's like, wow, there was a time where there was a magazine
Yeah.
about rollerblading.
No, I mean, and it was big too. I mean, you could buy it at Tower and whatnot.
Yeah.
There were actually two of them. There was Daily Bread and there was Box Magazine, but that one was like didn't go as long. So anyway, yeah, Daily Bread Magazine.
My number one is Guitar World.
Okay.
I've been playing guitar since I was 15, and I've almost probably had a subscription since then. You know, up and down, a couple years that you don't have it, and then I get it again just so that I currently have one. It comes to the house every month or whatever it is. It's just I've played guitar. Guitar World has always been there for me. There are plenty of other guitar magazines. I've been subscribed to all of them at some
I was
point.
gonna say like Metal Edge and
No, and that's more like
metal.
I mean strictly metal, but more about the bands, less about the guitar.
Okay.
So you know, it's just Guitar World. I don't know what else there is.
Wasn't Rip another one? I think that's another old school metal one.
I don't know. You're way older than me. Clearly.
I guess so.
But yeah, it's been a number one in my heart for a long time. Boring, but it's got to be number one. So.
Okay. My number one, I have to just meld these three together because they're essentially the same. Maxim stuff and FHM.
Okay.
These ones probably, I would say like when we were in high school is when they started getting really popular, and they were good because they were essentially nudie magazines that weren't nudie magazines.
Yeah.
It was just like a little bit more,
Yeah.
and they were fucking hilarious. Just well written, a lot of jokes, and I mean like it's the thing with Playboy. Like you would have think
articles.
Well, it was always like, oh, it's the Playboy interview too, and stuff like that. And it's like, who cares about any of that shit? You know, it's like, but yeah, stuff in Maxim and FHM. I actually did have a subscription to FHM, probably because it was the cheapest one. Because it was my third favorite of those three, but I still like. Okay. I have a box of them actually at home that I was trying to sell on eBay, but
I definitely remember all of them. I remember like looking at them, but I don't think I ever subscribed to them.
Yeah.
It was something like you go to the store, you crank it in the store.
There you go.
And then you go home.
You get arrested and then you go home.
You get on with your day. You know?
But it's funny when you think about it, though. I mean, obviously it made sense, but when you're paying like $6-7 for an issue, when you could literally pay like $30 for 12 for the whole year, you know,
it's the same now too. And like magazines are like $10.
I was gonna say they're probably way more expensive.
But you
now.
can still get like a $22 subscription for whatever, a year or whatever it is. It's like worth it if you actually like the magazines, but it's also just it's magazine. You're throwing money away because you like wasting your time looking at magazines. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
Do you have any potent notables?
Oh, I got plenty.
I do too, actually.
Okay. My first potent notable, Slam magazine, basketball magazine.
I thought it was the Onyx official magazine.
Very, very well done.
Thank you.
For the two people who will get that reference. Hoop was also a big magazine. That's where the Larry Johnson poster is from. But when I was a kid, my walls were decorated in Slam magazine. A lot of stuff. I would cut pictures out. I mean, up until about, I will say 7 years ago, I had every Slam magazine from the first one up until about 7 years ago.
I remember Slam. I don't remember Hoop.
Yeah. Well, Hoop was what you got into after you were like addicted to Slam.
Actually, I'm sorry, real quick, just because I've been watching Arrested Development lately. Do you remember Hoop in that episode by any chance? It was one of Lindsay's many causes, hands off our penises.
No.
It was her anti-circumcision cause.
No, that's great, and that is not what that magazine is up there. But yeah, Slam magazine. And here's the thing, like, we resell stuff off of eBay, me and you.
Yep.
I could have made a ton of money off of those things, and I think I just tossed them one day, which is crazy to me that I would toss them after having so many of them. But they took up so much room. There were so many of them, so that's one of them. I also Game Pro.
Oh yeah.
All right, so Game Pro was like a video game magazine.
That might even still. No, maybe not.
When I was in like second grade, third grade, fourth grade, around there, that was around.
Was that the Nintendo specific?
It's possible. I don't remember the magazine, but it's on my potent notable because me and a friend of mine back then, we decided to make Game Crow magazine, which
Okay.
makes no sense. It's not a bird magazine or anything like that. It just rhymed with pro, and it was Crow. And I would make the jokes, and he was like a artist, so he would write stuff, and we would make Game Crow magazines based off of Game Pro. So they were like video game
like a
joke.
spoof.
Yeah,
Nice.
yeah. So that was, for some reason, that came to my mind.
I want to see those.
I don't think those exist anywhere, but and then you brought up Thrasher. I currently still have a Thrasher subscription.
Okay, I was gonna ask what do you still have, like your subscriptions?
You can look at them downstairs. Thrasher, I have one called Dwell. It's just like homes, like very nice homes on the inside to give me home ideas instead of this monstrosity that you're sitting in.
This is lovely.
Yeah, Guitar Center, Premier Guitar is another one. Mostly guitar stuff.
That's hilarious.
Thrasher is another one. It's about to expire. I think I have 2 episodes left, and I keep calling them episodes. 2 issues left, and I'm kind of like, maybe I don't need this anymore, because all I look at now is the shoes, and I'm like, well, if New Balance has skate shoes, who cares about this magazine? And Mad Magazine.
Okay.
Classic comedy. There's a couple over there. I was going to send those to Hattori Hanzo. He may have sent those to me. I'm sending them back. I don't know. And then the last one, I was not really into it huge, but Maximum Rock and Roll, which had a lot of reviews and stuff for bands and whatever. And they actually reviewed my old band, Egro Willie, in there.
Nice.
And not nice. The guy said he would rather listen to J-Lo or something like that.
No, J-Lo's pretty good.
Pretty sure you can find that if you Google it. Hard enough, you can still find it online somewhere.
I have some Agro Willie stickers at home.
Congratulations.
Vintage.
What's your potent notables?
All right, Alternative Press. That would be my music
Spin?
one, I guess.
Did you ever get into Spin?
You know what? I think I had a free subscription, definitely for Rolling Stone too, and it was like, okay, this is good, but I mean, if I didn't have a free subscription, I wouldn't pay for it.
Yeah, and AP was a lot more punk bands.
Yeah,
so. I mean, it was like indie.
Yeah,
yeah.
So that was pretty much where Alternative Press got me. You know, it's like they had more punk and Warped Tour bands. Entertainment Weekly, just big. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, there was a good one that came out every week. They had good reviews and stuff. And
I assumed only dentists had Entertainment Weekly.
That's probably where I read it because I never got it at the house.
Yeah.
Sports Illustrated. Okay. Just a big sports guy. And then this is going back to my childhood. Highlights for Children. You remember these?
I almost brought it up earlier, but I was like, what if he has highlights on his list?
You knew I would. Everyone knows. Well, I hope everyone listening to this knows highlights. But yeah, the Hidden Pictures, big hit.
Yeah, and once again, a dentist magazine for sure.
If ever there was. So,
all right.
That's our top 3.
That was our top 3 favorite magazines of all time. That was fun. We had a good time. Now, let's see what comes down from the bucket.
Alrighty.
That's right. The bucket that has been recently stocked. Thank you guys for sending in ideas, as we have a bunch more paper in this random bucket. It makes no sense as to why it's on the show, but it's my favorite part of the show.
There it is. Yeah. The light flare.
All right, here we go.
All right, here we go. Hear that? All right, let's try. Okay. We'll do top 3 childhood TV shows, non-cartoon.
Non-cartoon.
Yeah.
Childhood, as in we watched them as child,
yes.
or they are
like
children's shows.
No, like growing up, growing pains, things like that. Anything you watched in like the 80s, let's say.
All right.
/ 90s, whatever. This is from Mike from Melmac, by the way. So.
Oh, okay.
Mike, thanks to your new additions to the bucket.
And you get a sticker. That's it.
Woo!
One.
You
know what? Half a sticker. Give him half.
All right.
And if we pull another 3 from him,
you get the other half.
He'll get the other half.
Sounds
I'm
good.
kidding.
Nice.
Thank you, Mike. We appreciate it. And that's it for the show.
See ya!